Once again, it's on, people. I am Brian Redman. This is the Relationship Rehab. And we are at the second of the series for cheating. And this one is, why do men cheat? So, why do men cheat? This is definitely coming from not just my point of view as a man, but from other men that I have talked to and gotten feedback from, because I wanted to make sure that I covered like a lot of the bases. I didn't want to complicate it, but I did want to make sure I got enough information so that I could give it to you guys and it all makes sense. So when it comes to men cheating, it's not rocket science. A lot of times I've talked to women and they've always wanted to know why and trying to figure it out. And what was it about her? Why did he do that with her? And what was it about her that was different from me? Most of the time, women, it's not necessarily about you per se. It's usually about something that's going on with us, or it's something that is actually that woman brings to the table that you may not be privy to or may not have knowledge about. And other times too, because I'm gonna keep it 100. Even when it comes to the men that are on the DL, right? The down low brothers, or whatever you want to call it. They are not truly 100% communicative when it comes to just talking about what it is that they want or need sexually. So it's not necessarily about you most of the time. Most of the time, it's usually about the man, or it's usually about that other person, or that other partner that's involved. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about one of the main things is, why do men cheat? It's conquest. Okay, so when I talk about conquest, we are kind of programmed when we are little to be heartbreakers. We are programmed to have many girlfriends. If you think about it, when a young man or a little boy is growing up, and when he's around not just other men, but mostly, I would probably say other women, they always talk about like, oh, he gonna have all the girls. He gonna have all the girls after him. He gonna be so cute. He looks so good now. He's gonna have all of the girls gonna be chasing after him. That's something that is kind of like programmed into us at a young age, to think that we are going to be desired, or we are going to have a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't hear people saying, oh, when he's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, you don't hear people saying, oh, he's gonna make a great husband one day. You don't hear that. So you hear women talking about, and men talking about, us being heartbreakers when we're little. So it's kind of something that's almost like embedded into us, to where when we do get older and we do start becoming more sexually active, and we start getting introduced to sex, going through puberty and things like that, it becomes a thing of just not us wanting to have sex, but we want to have sex with a lot of different people. So it's like we don't think about it at that age, but it's something that comes about once we get older, to where that's how we're judged. That's how we are established amongst our peers. We establish ourselves by the quantity of women that we sleep with. It's that body count, that number. It's what makes us a man, right? It's what proves us to be studs. It validates our virility. When you're talking about saying, hey, it's not that you having sex, right? When we're kids, or when we're teenagers and things like that, when we start to have sex, for men, it's not about us having sex. It's how many times have you had it, and how many women have you had it with. So it's like when you get that mentality and that mindset that you've had since you were little, to have that body count, if you will, then that's something that's hard to get out of. It's hard to unlearn that. And we usually don't move from the mindset of quantity to quality until we are well within our mid to late 20s and 30s. That's when we kind of start thinking like, hey, wait a minute. It's not necessarily about how many women I sleep with, but the type of women I sleep with. Because I know for a fact that there are plenty of women out there that can actually vouch for this and say, the chick that he cheated on me with, oh my God, she was just a total downgrade. And that is so true. It's like so many times, and so many times I've heard and seen men cheat with other women that are true downgrades. They are not on the level, even close or remotely being on the level that the woman that they're with, or their main woman, or their wife, or whatever the case may be, is on. And it's like, it's not, and that's not a knock on you per se. That's just that whole virility thing and being a stud thing that we think, hey, we should give it to any and everybody who asks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's one of the biggest things that we as men have to unlearn. And a lot of times we unlearn it, and it's at the woman's expense, you know? So, and that's really unfortunate. And that's something that we have to correct and change as men. Aside from the quantity and quality issue, a lot of us, and this is definitely vouched for and validated by men, we never truly, most of the time, recover from our first love. And here's the picture I'm gonna paint with that. When you talk about, or you ask a man who's gonna be transparent and 100% honest with you, that first girl that we fall in love with when we are like in maybe 7th, 8th grade, and we are in love with this one girl, that whatever that girl is, everybody got them, and every guy can tell you that. When we have that first girl that we truly want to be with and truly are in love with, and she breaks our heart, most of the time it's the fact that she's with another guy, whether it's the guy who's on the captain of the football team or the captain of the basketball team, whatever the case may be, or he's the guy that had all the cool clothes and wore the Jordans every week and every day and different ones. When we are passed up for that guy, or our heart is broken because we are not that guy, and that woman chooses that guy over us, then we carry that. We carry that for whatever reason. That first love, it devastates us. And we get into a mindset of, you know what? Yep, she did me in, or she broke my heart. And sometimes the woman might not even know. in a lot of cases, but we're kids. And we never recover from that, and we never process from that. So we have this thing to where we never gonna let somebody get our heart like that ever again. And we truly go on a rampage. We go on a rampage where we knocking them down, Jack, knocking them down. And it's all about the body count again. It's like, that's what we do. We move into that mentality. And a lot of times it's not until we're much older that we actually deal with that and say, okay, that was childish and I need to grow up and I need to do something different and be better. But yeah, that definitely rocks us and it devastates us. And a lot of men definitely told me about that. And I can attest to that too. You know, at that young first love that didn't love me back. Yes, I held a little grudge. I had a little chip on the shoulder that I said, yep, I'm gonna keep this guy right here. I'm gonna make all the women pay for it. Yes, we do that, but and it's petty. We petty Murphys with it, but we do it nevertheless. Another thing is not being honest. And what I mean by that is a lot of times men aren't honest. We're not honest about our needs, our wants, and our desires to the person that we are engaged with sexually. Whether it's because of we don't want to make ourselves that vulnerable, or whether it may be because we don't want to, just open up like that and just tell a woman what it is that we truly want, or be able to train them in our sex language, if you will, so that they know what we need. A lot of times we are, in some cases, some men are ashamed to tell a woman, hey, I may like this particular thing. Can you lick there or touch this there when I'm doing that? Can you, move here or something, whatever the case may be. We may not want to let that out the bag, especially if it's somebody that you're just like sleeping with and not really like in a true committed relationship with. So that can be something that can hinder that. And then it will cause, the man to say, well, I know she don't know about doing that to me or doing that for me. So I know she does. So I'm gonna go over here and still keep her, which is where the side chick comes from. That side chick does all those little dirty things that you don't, want to mention. She knows how to do, and she'll do it with no problem. Hey, hang from the chandelier, hold your leg up, and then twirl this heel in your hand, and then I'm gonna come and do my thing. And she like, okay. And she's totally judge free. Whereas when you talking to, maybe that person that you're in a really committed relationship with, that you don't want to mess up, you don't want to maybe turn them off, or you don't want them to judge you, you might not be so willing to bring forth and give that information. And that's the same thing a lot of times when men are cheating with prostitutes. You're paying for that service, and part of that service is just that complete and 100% confidentiality, so that's one thing. And then also too, just on the sex part, and this is not necessarily owned by just the men completely, this is the woman's part too. When it comes to the sex part, the frequency, creativity, and ego stroking. So it's like a lot of times check with your man and find out, are we having enough sex? You know, how much often do you want it? Not necessarily having long drawn out sessions. Sometimes men just want that quickie. And a lot of times men may say, hey, I want you to want the quickie. You know what I'm saying? That's the ego stroking part. And then creativity. You know, not necessarily saying you have to dress up and be a school teacher, although that may be that thing, you know, or maybe, hey, put on that mini skirt and put on that garter and yeah, and talk to me dirty or whatever the case may be. If that's something that you want, then that's something that, you know, be creative enough to ask those questions and maybe try it out or test it out, put a wig on, whatever the case may be, you know, be playful and be creative in that mindset too, because a lot of times you don't want the same thing, you know, sometimes you do, sometimes you can appreciate the routine, you know, and I definitely can attest to that. I appreciate the routine and the fact that my wife knows my love language. She knows my sex language. She knows how to do that thing that she do to make me do the thing that I do. I love that. But also too, when a lot of times a man will get bored and will want some creativity. So it's not that you have to be creative every single time, but just be open to present some ideas, ask the question, say, hey, would you like me to try this or try that? You want to try something different? And he'll tell you, a man will tell you, yeah, or no, or I'm good, or I like it the way that it is, you know? So it's just keep that open mind, communicate. Talk to each other, understand each other, and ask for that man. And men, you need to be more forthcoming with what it is that you want and what it is that you need. So that's pretty much it for this particular series on why do men cheat. If you got any questions, hit me up. Go to the website, hit me up at The Secret Garden. I can do a video about it, whatever the case may be. And as always, I hope that this helps somebody become a better version of themselves. I love you and I'm out.